pretty good like bass of music. Like they used to like I've quite like fond memories of like going on like family holidays and that, and they'd be playing like everything from Beautiful South to Green Day, Pulp in the car. My dad listens to a lot of rockabilly as well, so I think that it's probably down to that sort of musical background that's had me like reach for like a guitar and doing guitar music. But yeah, I mean, I didn't find music like in a physical sense, like actually playing and writing until secondary school. Like it was kind of, for me, it was like a way to like lighten up the day at school. 'Cause I hated school, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, we used to, like me and the guys who I'm still in the band with now. Like we all went to secondary school together. And my drummer played trombone and drums. My bass player, he actually used to play piano, but they obviously were both quite musical, and I didn't have a clue. Like I'd sang a bit and like been in the pantos and that in like primary school, but I'd never picked up a guitar. Yeah, and then we decided between three of us in an RE lesson that we wanted to kind of get together and start writing music and seeing what happened. And it was, to be honest, mate, it was just for a laugh, really, just like pass the time and a bit of a hobby and that. And it was nice because it gave us opportunity to get together outside of school as well. Like we'd be rehearsing and that. So yeah, we were really for ages, but I didn't really find music kind of in the band sense until that point, really. Up until then, I just enjoyed listening to it, and I've like gone through all the phases. Like I had my emo phase, and not quite sure if I actually ever came out of that one, to be fair. I still listen to some of the old stuff I love, and it still slaps. So but I think quite a lot of people are like that. But yeah, that was it really in terms of like actually getting me into music. Yeah, probably just the fact that it was always round me at home, really. But not like neither of my parents played instruments at all. Yeah.
So what was you listening to growing up then? You mentioned it briefly then. So with those like influences there, do they play a part in your music today, would you say?
I'd say definitely with regards to like Pulp, probably have quite a bit of an influence in there in terms of like the way I structure songs, and like they do quite a lot of kind of like spoken, like not spoken word, but kind of like the way in which the lead singer from Pulp, like, you know, talks about it or like sings his lines, the way he enunciates stuff is a lot more kind of like conversational, especially at the same in his lyric as well. So I think that I probably got that from him, really. And then I think like in terms of the actual sound that we go for as a band, again, we've grown into that. Like when I first started writing music, it sounded a lot more like, yeah, like the sort of influences I used to listen to. But I think it was probably my 16th birthday. My uncle got me Definitely Maybe on CD, and like I was just rinsing that for months. And I think that really kind of like changed the way in which I wanted to write music and how I wanted to sound. That's when it kind of, I caught like the indie rock bug, really, at that point. But yeah, I mean, I definitely with regards to Oasis, like there's a big influence there in terms of like the way the guitars sound, like that big band sound, like almost like a wall of just like, yeah, thick guitars and drums. And then I think as I kind of grew up, like talking more like 18 now, I was a massive Catfish and the Bottlemen fan. They had a lot of influence on the way that sort of our earlier stuff sounded, and continues to kind of develop a bit more on kind of what they brought to the table for me, really. So yeah, I mean, it's a really eclectic mix though, man. Like, I listen to so much music, like lots of different stuff as well. Like some of the drum beats that we use, our drummers, like, he's quite into like more of the classical side of drumming. So sometimes you get like some of the fills that you'll want to put in songs are a bit more complex than we probably would normally go for, but that works for him. And our lead guitarist as well, he's a massive metalhead. So like in terms of the solos, it was always something that we really wanted to keep going through the tunes, because like even though people say like, you know, guitar music and that is kind of with regards to guitar solos and things like that, it's kind of going out the window a bit, but we always wanted to kind of keep that element in there. We never wanted that to leave, really. So yeah, no, it is a really just like a mix mash of stuff, to be honest, mate. But when I write, I'm not necessarily specifically going, oh, I want this to sound like that. Like it's just kind of the tunes come out sounding how they do because we like the music that we do. So we like to make it sound the way that we like to listen to music, really.
Like writing music, are you in the band? Are you the one who writes the music, or is it like a mix of you, or is it a couple of you?
Yeah, so I'll like this before I take any songs to the lads, like I'll have pretty much the whole thing written, but just like me and acoustic guitar.
Okay.
So like I basically write like the skeleton of the song, and then they put their bits on, which works quite nicely because like I'll obviously like I'll have the structure of the tune and like the vocal melody, and sometimes like maybe the odd idea for like a main riff or something that's going to carry through the song and be catchy. But then like when it comes to putting down lead guitar, if there's solo or like lead parts throughout the chorus, they're always kind of like a bit of a surprise because Beza very much does his own thing there. But he's really good at like, I'll say to him like a sort of feel that I want to get, and he just, whatever he plays tends to be like bang on the money as to the sort of thing I was thinking about, which is quite nice, really. But yeah, like there's the songs themselves. Like normally, like with the EP we've got coming out at the moment, all the songs were written. I could have played the whole thing through just acoustic guitar, and then we went to studio, and then bring the whole band in on it. Is how it normally works.
Okay. So if there was anyone listening out there now who's like they've got a bit of talent, or they might not have a discovered talent yet in music, if they wanted to like sit down and like start writing songs, start creating their own thing, what sort of inspiration could you offer to them?
It's a difficult one.
Yeah,
because but like it's very much down to what works for you. I will write a song if I feel a certain way, or if I'm having like a certain kind of day, then that's gonna influence and inspire what then comes out. But I don't tend to get myself like hell bent on trying to write about like a certain thing or like really concentrating on the message that I want to get across. I'll just write it first and then afterwards try and figure out what it was that made me write what I wrote. So I think like the main thing for anybody is just to write the music that immediately comes to you. Like if you're trying too hard, then in my opinion, which is obviously completely different to the next person. But I think if you're having to proper graft to like pull out the song or like, make it work, then it ain't the right one. And then you just move on, try something else. But yeah, I mean, the songs just kind of tend to appear for me. Like most songs that we write, I'll have them done, or like have the most of it done like in 15-20 minutes, like it's finished. But normally, like I'd say, if you're starting out writing for the first time, just find that catchy hook first, like the first thing that melody that people are going to repeat, people are going to sing back, is going to get stuck in people's heads. That's the most important bit. Then what goes on around that, kind of just up to what you're feeling, really, as long as it's got that element of like catchiness. But again, like we were saying earlier, go like listen to music, like listen to more music, make everything that you do throughout your day, like soundtrack your day to listening to stuff that you wouldn't normally listen to. Get on Spotify, go on like Discover Weekly, listen to what new bands are doing, and then that kind of helps again, like feed the inspiration and like spur you on to write your own stuff, and again write it in a way that's kind of relevant as well to what's going on currently if you're listening to new music, rather than just kind of listening to the same albums, like the older albums, over and over again, because obviously that's been done, so like you need to think what's going to be done next.
So how long's the band been going for now?
So I've been doing music for like going on 11 years, like sort of crafting and getting my writing skills there. Lostboy, we've only been doing that for a couple of years, I think. I don't know exactly. We used to be called Exiled, which was a bit trashy. But then we kind of rebranded, and then since doing the Lostboy stuff and like going more kind of frontman centric feel on socials, it's kind of taken off a bit more, and it makes it a lot easier for us to manage in terms of content too, because I can just churn it out on my ones like as and when I'm free and have the time. Don't have to worry about getting everyone together and like making sure that everyone's free. So yeah, no, it's been about 2 years for Lostboy. It's been a good 2 years, man. Like we considering where we started off to where we are now, like it's been pretty mad, really. Some of the stuff we've done, I would never have thought that if I could go back and like chat to 16-year-old me, he'd be like, you're fucking cool. But yeah, No, it's been good, man. And it's still a laugh as well, which is like the most important thing.
Yeah.
Like if the fun goes out a bit, then it's time to stop.
In these like 2 years, couple of years you've been in Lostboy, could you pinpoint a best moment or a highlight of yours?
Wow.
I know it's a bit of a on the spot question, isn't it?
We had a last year was just riddled with like just nuts stuff happening that we kind of like pinch me moment things. Like I think we had 2 Radio 1 spins last year, which I never dreamt that we'd ever have that. We also we were on an episode of Made in Chelsea and then an episode of Gogglebox too, which was nuts.
Brilliant.
But before that, like, I still think one of my fondest moments was BBC Introducing put us on their stage at Tramlines Festival in 2019 or 2020. I can't remember. I think it was 2019, but like and summer 2019, and that was like we'd never played like a massive show. I think the biggest crowd we'd probably done was like 100, and we had no idea how it was going to go, and we'd kind of been like out the back of the stage like for most of the afternoon, so we hadn't seen like how things were shaping up out there at all. And I think that like our set we coincided with Jake Bugg finishing. I think Jake, or maybe 10 tons actually. Yeah, 10 tons finished his set, and then I think everyone must just his 10 and come over to the BBC Introducing stage. So we walked out on stage. We do this thing where like the lads that go out first, and they like hi, and then I'll come out after. And I remember looking at my drummer, and he kind of like looked like across stage at me down the steps, just like with this look of fear in his eyes, like it's just in himself. And I was like, what's going on? I walked out there, and it was just like, yeah, sea of people. Like there must have been like 3,000-4,000 people there, and it was just ridiculous. Like our guitarist was so hungover as well. Like I think he had an absolute shocker of a gig. And then yeah, that show as well. They played it on the radio. We were just like, we're so today, but this is mad. But yeah, no, I think that was a big one for me. And then like, I mean, like we got on the bill for Why Not Festival as well, which was mad. Yeah, there's been a lot, man. It's so difficult to choose. I think if I had to pick one, it would probably be the Radio 1 support we had last year. That was nuts.
So what's the future looking like for the band?
So we've got a 5-track EP and our first ever vinyl as well, which is getting printed at the moment, coming out in May this year. New singles dropping off of that on the 13th of April. We've got 2 out already, and then this will be the last single that comes out before the whole thing drops. So that's happening. And then we're going on a 6-date live tour in May, just after that comes out as well. Playing Leeds, Newcastle, Birmingham, Manchester, Cardiff and London, all in the space of like 2 weeks. So that's going to be really good. And then literally 2 weekends ago, we're back in Liverpool, like writing again. So we've got 2 demos down. That's sounding better than the stuff that we've just recorded, and we're putting out, which is a bit weird, but that's the way it always goes. So yeah, man, just on to the next thing really. I think we're not pushing for any fezzies this year. We're going to be looking at trying doing that next year, but we've just signed a live sort of booking deal with Marshall, as in the guitar amps.
Yeah.
So that'll be something that we'll be looking at cooking in next year. But yeah, man, it's all go, which is good. So the new stuff that we've got demoed, probably would be looking to release that maybe, don't know, end of summer, maybe end of this year, possibly save it to next year. We'll have to see where things pan out with the EP. But it's all a bit like we're at that weird stage where we know the music's there and everything's ready to go. So we're just kind of like, how people are going to feel about it when it comes out. Like we could be in one place or another place come the end of the year. So who knows, man. But yeah, we're just rolling with it really, seeing what happens.
Wow, well, that's brilliant, mate. Well, thank you for coming on, and good luck with it all with the band.